Five Nights at Freddy's, whether I like it or not, sometimes is part of my childhood. I don't want to be that guy, but when I was a kid, not much really scared me like that with like horror movies and even games. Like, I used to watch horror movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Texas Chainsaw, and even though Texas got me a little bit as a kid because it was really disturbing, even the other ones that didn't really scare me that much. You know, some of my friends, the ones that scared some of my friends, like Child's Play and Saw movies, didn't scare me that much either as a kid. That's not to say I didn't like them, because I loved all of them, but I just wasn't that scared from any of them. And there were games back then, like Slender, and Resident Evil, and Dead Space, and Silent Hill, but most of my friends at school didn't even talk about those games. And no, it's not because they were rated M, because kids used to play GTA back at my school, and like elementary school, we'd all get on in like 5th or 4th grade to play GTA 5, but there was one game that made a really big impact on everybody, around the whole world, I assume, because everyone talks about it all the time. Back then, they used to talk about it a lot, just way too much. And when YouTubers started playing it, like Markiplier, Five Nights at Freddy's just blew up, and everybody started playing it and talking about it, especially when it got on mobile. It was just ridiculous. Ever since Five Nights came out and more YouTubers started playing it and it got on mobile, more and more people started playing the game. And when I first played it, the first one in particular, it was stressful and shocking, but it never really scared me like that. The first one came out and then the second one came out, and two animatronics in particular kind of creeped me out and scared me a little bit. In the second one, which was the messed up Bonnie and the old Chica with her arms torn off, those ones kind of creeped me out, but they weren't super scary, you know. None of them really terrified me when I was like in elementary school, except for one animatronic in particular. He was from the third game, and I remember when the third game came out, I bought it on my freaking tablet. And this guy creeped me out so much and actually scared me when I first played it. It was Springtrap. Springtrap was probably the one that scared me the most. He is definitely the one that scared me the most. It was more of a fact, like, not when I first saw him, I wasn't like, oh my god, Springtrap is really scary. It was more of just over the course of finding more things out about Springtrap as a kid. It was kind of fun in a way, going online and using the internet instead of doing homework and all that bull. I just looked at Five Nights at Freddy's lore and stuff, and people making theories and all that bull. And Springtrap was really scary, especially the small details. Springtrap, like in his trailer, for example, the trailer where you just it's just him shaking on the floor. Later, I find out that is just Springtrap literally dying. That's Afton, the purple guy. I then find out purple guy is Springtrap, and his name is Afton. And there was no yelling or anything in the trailer. It was just some animatronic shaking. At first, I thought it was just some mechanical thing spazzing out in it, and then I found out it's just a dude in it who's literally shaking because he's dying. That freaked me out as a kid a lot. It genuinely scared me as a kid. It was like the more I found out about him, the more creeped out I got of Springtrap. And because the concept of that game, of someone killing a bunch of kids and stuffing them in animatronic suits, is a pretty scary concept, but it obviously played off of the Chuck E. Cheese thing with animatronics, but Springtrap looked creepy. Sometimes when he would open his mouth, you would see a rotting corpse inside the suit, and that green disgusting color and decaying suit with his eyes, especially his eyes, they were just like white with like veins almost. They were like cracked eyes or something. He was like cracked out or something, and the spring lock jaw was genuinely terrifying. If I saw Springtrap standing outside my window, I would probably dookie myself and probably piss my pants or something, because that guy is genuinely terrifying. I didn't play too much of the Five Nights games after 4, but Springtrap was probably the one that scared me, and the only one that scared me out of all the animatronics, because the way he looks, in his game he was scary. That dirty green filter they just threw on the game, some people call it like ugly and lazy or kind of cheap, but it genuinely creeped me out more after the second and first game. The second and first game was okay. The third one is not my favorite to play. The third one is definitely not my favorite. That's the second one. But Springtrap is definitely my favorite animatronic, and also the one that scares me the most, because he also has stuff to do with the lore. He's Purple Guy, which is also the person who killed a bunch of kids and stuffed them in his suit, I'm pretty sure. He's kind of like Frieza, where he does have to do a lot with the lore and plot, and if he didn't do what he did, none of Five Nights at Freddy's probably would have happened without this guy. He's like Frieza in that regard, that he has a lot to do with the lore and plot. And in the other clips of these other voice actors, they're not official, but they're just like voice actors of these people who are just acting the scene when Afton is inside the suit and literally dying and screaming. They do way too good of a job on these videos, and it still gives me chills. And if he's ever in Dead by Daylight, I'm definitely gonna play that game again and play Killer. It's gonna be really fun, but he's the only one that still gives me chills, especially all the fan things, like the thing I just said with him screaming, all the other fan animations and stuff that I see. Still, to this day, they're still coming out. It's pretty awesome and pretty scary, especially the cosplayers too. There's one cosplayer that has a suit that just looks exactly like it. It's ridiculous, and it creeps me out. To the other games, like the Silent Hill games, stuff like that, they creeped me out. But Springtrap was, it's just like, the more you find out, the more scary he is, and the more, it's just like, it's really fun. It was really fun as a kid finding out more and more. It was a one-of-a-kind experience that I only had with Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't really have this kind of experience with any other game like that. But Five Nights at Freddy's, because it was just a bunch of people making theories, doing all this. It was so much fun. I don't really play Five Nights series like that anymore. I didn't even play that new one or whatever. I didn't really play that one either. The last one I played was like 4. And that was when you were like a kid in a room with that nightmare animatronics. And those ones are scary, but they just... It's just a little too over the top for me. Like, you know, not like Jason X over the top where it's ridiculous that it's funny. It's just a little it's just trying a little too hard to be scary. Like, don't get me wrong, if I see them outside, I'm probably gonna shit my pants. But just from like a standpoint, just playing the game or watching it or something, it's just not as scary as like Springtrap. Springtrap is like, he's like a good balance between something that's subtle and creepy and scary and a little over the top. He's like a good balance between it, because there's ones that are subtle, like Bonnie. I know Scott Coffin, the guy who made the game, said he had nightmares about Bonnie. That thing doesn't even have eyebrows, which also makes it scary. But that is just a little too subtle. You know, that's just not, like, it's not super scary. But Springtrap, with his teeth, his jaw, his dirty, ugly, fugly, poopy, stinky suit, whatever he's got, that stinky suit, that green filter, the backstory, the lore, finding more and more out about him, just all contributes to what is my favorite animatronic and favorite character in the series, and also the one that I'm scared of the most. I don't want to sound like a fanboy, you know, who's just like, I'm not like those people, like, some people at school right now are like, yeah, Chucky. You know, there was this one girl who said she wanted to bang Chucky. You know, I'm not one of those people, but I'm not like I'm definitely a kind of a fanboy for Springtrap in a way, because that guy was just changed my childhood for a little bit. But I don't want to bang him or nothing. Like, I'm not gonna look at him and be like, "Can I get your autograph?" Like, no, I'm gonna run away if I see him in real life. Like, but I think the idea of him is really dope, and he's definitely still probably, because the new one is just I didn't really play too much. I don't play the new Five Nights at Freddy's. I might get into it later, but not anytime soon. But this guy is probably gonna be the only one that ever scares me in the Five Nights at Freddy's series.